Well, good evening, everyone. Welcome back to the channel. I'm almost on time here. But what I want to do, I want to discuss today what I couldn't get to yesterday because we went for about an hour and a half. And like I said, I had a ton of stuff to discuss yesterday. But today, I'm going to try to just do exclusively an options video. We'll talk a little bit, we'll talk about our favorite funds and whatnot. But what I want to get into mainly is the NASDAQ strategy with options trading, the TQQQ fund versus the UPRO fund, both pro shares from the same fund family. But those of you that have been subscribed and following me for a long time, you know how much of a fan I am of the UPRO S&P 500 call option strategy. So, and I lost like three of you just talking options, of course. Can't talk about dividends exclusively every day. We got to get into other stuff after a while. But anyway, so I was really looking yesterday. Like I said, I did a lot of looking things over and whatnot. Discovered my 401k was underperforming the market, which is a little embarrassing. It's up to like 12%, by the way, today. Gained a whole percentage after rebalancing. But I mean, my new one, there's not much in there, but like my other one is probably up like 20% or so because we've had a really good week for the market. But anyway, for the four of you that are on, we're going to talk about options trading today. And what I'm going to do, because Thinkorswim doesn't work on this screen share, I'm going to have to just basically get the screenshots, email them to myself during this live stream, and we'll go from there. So, and for those of you on, feel free to comment away, and any questions or concerns or whatnot, feel free to light up the comment section. So, the thing is, with both of these strategies in a year like we've had this year, both of these strategies are a pathway to massive wealth. And I'm going to explain exactly how. And for those of you that want to learn more about options, this is the video for you because I'm going to go into pretty much everything I know about my favorite strategy, which is the long call options, right? So let me get some kind of a screen share going here. And I'm going to try to rant to all of you all while I buy myself some time to get these screenshots that I wanted to have before I started the stream. But I didn't want to be late for you all because I know you all are timing me, or some of you are. So I'm going to go to Yahoo Finance first. And of course, we got a big fat Amex ad in the middle of the screen, which I don't really want. I'm not a big fan of them. And so, like I said, we'll start with this. Actually, no, you know what? Let me try. You know what? I'm going to stay away from Yahoo. I'm going to go to Seeking Alpha instead. So how's the sound, by the way? Is the sound coming in good? I notice I sound better on a mobile device than I do on like a TV. So if you're watching me, watch me on a mobile device. At least my personal opinion. So, everything kind of ended on a down note today. Didn't follow the last 30 minutes or so of trading, but tried to look as much as I could. All right. Seeking Alpha. You know what I want to do also? If we get good participation this evening, I know it's a Friday and all, but if we get good participation, I want to pull up the engineer's article about NEO, which I forgot to pull up yesterday. So, all right, let's go into this here. And what I really like about this website, it pretty much has, I would say 90% of what I need, what I'm used to or accustomed to on Yahoo. So I can make this work. All right. So our market update for today, which, not like you couldn't just look this up yourself, but Dow was down 107, S&P was up down 16, NASDAQ was down 93 points. Crude oil, gas prices should be lower. How about that? And then gold and Bitcoin. You know what, just for fun, I'm not even sharing, am I? Darn. Let me get this share going. Oh, wow. Look who's first to comment. How about that? Not only did you show up, but you're first to comment. Options, Chinese, Finnish, don't speak the language. Well, I know more about options than I do Chinese or Finnish. I don't even know like one word in Finnish, but I could find Finland on a map. Engineers here. I'm here to ask questions if you like. Perfect. Glad to have you on because you'll give perfect commentary for options. Door gunner's on, says, hey everyone. So Tatiana, you have to explain to us what's going on with this your picture here with your it looks like a little doll or something. Where's Join Jen, by the way? She's like the only other woman in the audience. I swear, the audience, it's like 90% male on a finance channel. So supposedly there's a 10% are female, but we get two consistently. By the way, I tried to style my hair a little bit differently because Join Jen last time said she was going to try to get me in a men's hair commercial. So I'm trying to improve my look. I need a haircut soon, actually. So by the next live stream, I'll be better groomed. Anyway, all right, back to Seeking Alpha, which I thought I was sharing. Well, what can I say? One of them showed up first. We got to get, if you're going to grow as a channel, you got to get both genders, Anyway, by the way, where were you yesterday? I went over all the specs about the meta call options. Where were you? I was looking for you. I mean, I had record participation, and you didn't even show up. You weren't one of the record number of participants. Anyway, all right, let me share the screen that I thought I was sharing. Oh, we got a third woman on the channel. How about that? Rogue Dragon Rider. All right, that's just what. You know what? So yesterday, we're adding a really diverse audience. We had a hog farmer. Now we have a dragon rider. That's another addition I wanted to the audience for sure. Just like Queen, what was her name? Queen Daenerys in Game of Thrones. I was driving. I was here listening. Oh, okay. I figured you were on. I figured you were listening and not commenting. But anyway, what do you think about that, by the way? So I knew what was going to happen. I called it, but I did it anyway. And had I just sold on June 1st, I would have probably locked in like 19K instead of 17.6 or whatever it was. But then you see what it did, and it went up more today. So, oh well, that's what happens. I had a feeling as soon as I sold it, it would run up. But at least I locked in the gain. For the most part, I captured like 90% of the gain. Anyway. Oh, actually, Meta ended up dropping. We were up, and then, whoa, we were up to 287 today. Darn. You know what? Rule of thumb from now on, hold till Friday on any of these. That's what I'm going to do from now on. All right, so without further ado, let me go into Seeking Alpha. And that's what we're all doing here. We're Seeking Alpha. If that name wasn't taken, I'd call my channel Seeking Alpha. Anyway, so let me run through the market update again, rattle these off for you all now that we have a visual. The Dow was down 107, S&P was down 16, NASDAQ was down 93, crude oil was up 82 cents, but 71.44. So in my opinion, gas prices should be cheaper. Gold is below 2,000. Bitcoin gained $800 today, 26,299. So it's coming back, but not quite at its all-time highs. Still has a ways to run. And the neat thing about crypto is it trades in real time, 24/7. So just want to look here just for fun. Let's see how we're doing. Wow, we're up 58% for the year. For 1 year, 29%. 5 years, we're still up. I'm going to say, come on, refresh. We're still, we're up 304% in 5 years. You can see here we peaked 63,000. So we've got a ways to go. I do have a small fractional share of Bitcoin that Coinbase awarded me because they locked our accounts. And like I said, that was their apology. So, all right, the strategy this evening, the strategy for massive wealth, my favorite classic option strategy, it's called the long call option, buying calls. So let's start with this. Let's start with fundamentals. Let's go to the main index here before I get into TQQQ. So what TQQ is, the T doesn't stand for Tatiana, unfortunately, but there is a T in the fund. So the TQQQ is the ProShares Ultra Pro NASDAQ ETF. Now, why is that important? Because this is basically, it's triple levered for the NASDAQ. And I'm going to explain what all this means, but I want to start with the basics first. So let me go back to the main page, actually. Seeking Alpha. I want to pull up the NASDAQ index, and I want to show you all what we've done in the NASDAQ for the year. Let me just check comments real quick here. Let's see. Oh, Hoffman, you had several options, no pun intended, but you didn't have a plan. I'm glad you pulled the trigger. What should my plan have been? What do you think? No, breaking beta. Breaking beta instead of seeking alpha. I like seeking alpha better. It's from my Bad Taste Bear collection. She's a good replica of myself, cute, round, and sexy. Yeah, okay. I just, was kind of a little iffy about the face, but everything else is okay. So you collect bears. I wonder if they're like, what was the things in the 90s, the Beanie Babies or something? If they're valuable, who knows? You being you kind of into investing and stuff, you could maybe flip them one day. Door Gunner says Bitcoin halving in April next year. Someone else told me that too. So that's going to start the run. So I need to buy more Bitcoin then. That will start the bull run. Isn't that? Tell me, because someone else mentioned this too. Doesn't it have every so many years? Let me just look on the phone here at historical performance here. Let's see, Bitcoin. Come on, it's BTC USD, right? BTC dash USD. So our low point. Wow, we dropped below 16,000 November 9th. That was the time to buy everything. All right. So, yeah, that might be by fall 2025, Bitcoin will go parabolic, followed by Ethereum and then altcoins. Make sure you talk about buying in the money leaps for the best theta delta taxes ratio. That's a little over my head. You might want to just comment and explain to the audience. It halves every 4 years. Okay, thank you for clarifying. You should have had an out like 300% up or take 300% and jump back in with a new contract, or should have took half off. Yeah, you're right. Crypto has predictable cycles. I would love to have a fund named after me. Well, you could. Like, there's a popular YouTuber that just had that done. Um, who knows? Maybe one day I'll have you know what? That's kind of my goal. The THB. Like you think about popular stocks now, like JP Morgan. That was a person, right? JPM. THB could be a ticker symbol one day. Who knows? You'll never call the top. Green is green. 300% is 300%. Don't look back and should haves. Let's see what my percentage was now that you mentioned percentages. I know I 3x'd. I don't want to say too much on here because, there are people that know me on here. They're going to be like, he made a successful trade. He's rich. Not everybody understands money at the same level. Some people think if you have $10,000, you're rich and you can retire. So, all right. So I think it was, I'll have to look again to be exact, but I think it was like 17.6. I think I put 55 into it. So that's 12.1 divided by 55. That's like it was over 300%. It was like 320%, I think. So I exceeded that. But you see what it did intraday today. Now, the funny thing, if I got all the meat off the bone Thursday, I would have still been mad because you see what it did today. It went up a few dollars more before it dropped again. So I think it was at almost 288 intraday. All right, so now I'm responding to comments here, but I'm distracted again from the topic du jour. There's some French for you, Tatiana. But you didn't mention French. You mentioned Chinese and Finnish. Was that? Those are the two. All right, so yeah, you're right. Good advice. Good pointers. THB ETF with all the yield max funds in it. Yeah, that's pretty much. But I would also have the TQQQ and I would have the UPRO. I'd have the ones I'm going to talk about this evening. Well, thank you. Thanks for the support there. Okay, so options. So here's what I want to emphasize here. I'm going to start from square one here, basically, because a lot of people on this channel are new to options or may not know it well enough. So, John Doe. That's right. We added a John Doe to the channel too. I like having unusual names on the channel. Bought 4K more Tesla today. Let's go, BB. All right, good for you. Okay, back to this now. I'm gonna just let the comments. Oh, you're speaking Portuguese now. I won't pretend to know what that means. Querido, does that mean like want or something? I know Spanish, but not much Portuguese, even though they're like right next to each other. Deep in the money options with a long expiry are leaps. Long term, I know what leaps are. That's basically my meta strategy. The meta options I had were leaps a year ago, and I just leaped out of them Thursday. Deep in the money options with a long expiry are leaps. Long term equity anticipation securities, but that's fine. I'm glad you spelled that out for the audience because not everybody knows that. Low theta, high delta. Hey, that's pretty much what I pick. And if you hold them more than a year, you get to pay long term capital gains. Yes. Okay. You're right. So you're not over my head after all, now that you explained it. You're right. Good point. Really good point. Because when you sell these under a year, like a lot of these courses that like options alerts and whatnot, they're like a quick 3 months or 6 months. They're less than a year. So you would be paying short-term capital gains. But you're absolutely right. With leaps, you're paying long-term capital gains. So great point, engineer. Like I said, glad you're on for a discussion like this. It's going to add a lot of value. All right. So for the more advanced students in the class here, like you, this will probably bore you, but just bear with me because I want to start from scratch here. And you probably know where I'm already going to go with this because I've probably talked about it before. But let's start with the NASDAQ. Okay. So the NASDAQ has had a great year. And I touched on this yesterday when I talked about how my 401k was underperforming because I was heavily into the NASDAQ in my large cap fund and my other one. If it was all in the NASDAQ, of course, you're not going to put all your eggs in one basket. But if it was all in the NASDAQ, you're talking huge, like, because I think the NASDAQ's up like 60%. No, I'm not 60%. What am I talking about? I'm getting it mixed up with Tesla. We're up 31.8% for the year. So here's the thing with ETFs or exchange traded funds, you have levered ETFs also, which what does levered mean? It's like additional leverage. So a 3x ETF. And if you all can comprehend this, this is going to blow your mind. You're going to see the profit making potential. Your head's going to explode. And so will your profits if you execute this correctly. So here's what happens when you're up 31.8%. And once you master this, you're going to wonder why everybody doesn't do this. But there are still people out there that you could explain this to, and they still won't do it, which is, it's not ignorance, but it's like stubbornness is what you might call it. But anyway, all right. Too much side chatter here. Let me focus. All right, so the NASDAQ is up 31.8% for the year. So a triple levered ETF is going to do 3 times what the underlying index does. Okay, so the wheels are going to really start to turn here, and this is going to click in a second. This is going to be a big light bulb moment. Okay, so what would a triple X, and anyone correct me if I'm wrong, in the comments, like engineer, follow my logic here. A triple levered NASDAQ ETF like TQQQ, 3x. So you're going to be up 95.4% in that. But guess what? One of the most beautiful things about ETFs are, what is that? Not only the lettering conventions and the names and the performance, but the best aspect of an ETF, any ETF, is that they're optionable, which means you can trade options on them. So if you're already taking a levered ETF, and some folks out there that are really conservative, they would say, oh, this strategy is ludicrous until you make a lot of money with it, right? And this strategy does work, trust me. When the markets are up, it does work. I've done it with the UPRO, and I'll get into that. Haven't done enough of it, but I have done it this year. So with options, what does one option contract control? One option contract controls 100 shares of a stock or an ETF. So a triple levered ETF, you're talking just one contract of that controlling 100 shares. You're infinitely maximizing your leverage and thus your potential gains, right? So a triple levered ETF on an index like the NASDAQ that's already up 32% this year, say you buy 10 contracts on the TQQQ, right? So you're talking, instead of 3x leverage, now you're talking like 30x leverage, right? Because one option controls 100 shares, right? So then 10 contracts, you control 1,000 shares times 3. That's like 3,000 leverage. So the profit potential is massive in something like this. And I'm going to pull two, because I'm going to do a comparison of the UPRO versus the TQQQ. And I can't wait to read the comments I get on this. I'm going to just finish covering this and then read comments. But you're talking, had you started this in January, you're talking massive profits. And going back further, like a year, we're up 28% year over year. But if we go intra-year from where we bottomed out, Pretty much everything seems like it bottomed out in November. And it is tough to call the bottom a lot of times, but if we look, okay, it didn't move too much more from October to January. The bottom of the NASDAQ pretty much was the beginning of the year. So the NASDAQ by far has outperformed every other index, and we're only not even halfway through the year. Now, we would be annualized, we would be on pace for like 64%, but that's probably not going to happen. We're probably going to settle maybe somewhere around 40% for the year, which is phenomenal. And the thing is, you know, indexes won't do 40% every year, obviously. Now, in the same time frame, the S&P is up 23%. Since the beginning of the year, the S&P is up 16%. So why is the TQQQ strategy? It's essentially the same strategy, what I just mentioned. It's the same strategy that I've used with the UPRO. Why is it better with the TQQQ? Because the NASDAQ is up double what the S&P 500 is up. So now let's go look at TQQQ, the Pro Shares Ultra Pro QQQ ETF. Now let's look at the year to date. And what you're going to see here after expense ratios and whatnot, look at this, 141% return. And this is based on the NASDAQ, which is up 32% approximately. 141%. So imagine having leap options on this since the bottom. We're going to get the exact number on that, and it's going to blow your mind. So 141, I want to say that's more than 3x actually. Yeah. So here's the thing. With this ETF, if you take the return, the annual return right now for the NASDAQ, you get 96%. If it's times 3, this is way more than times 3. 141% divided by 3, that's like 47%. So we're getting a much higher rate of return even than 3x. So just with that, so imagine having options on this. And we're going to get to that one next. So what I would have done on a strategy like this, I would have probably gone out probably to one of my favorite dates, September 15th. And when I do the back test in Ameritrade and Thinkorswim, this is what I'm going to put together here. I would have probably picked a strike somewhere of around, say, 50 or so. And this is how I trade options. So, and again, for those of you long-term listeners, long-term subscribers, this is the same strategy I followed for the UPRO. The only thing is the UPRO hasn't done nearly as well as the TQQQ. So I was a bit asleep at the wheel on this one. Like I said, for every win that you have trading, there's always a better play to be had. So now let's go back again and look at the S&P 500. Let me pause for comments for a second here. I'm sure I've got a lot of them built up here. Okay, actually not so many. Not exactly leverage decay and expense ratio. What happens when the price moves against you? Oh, such a devil's advocate here. Yes, well, that's the thing. Yes, you do lose 3 times as much, but if you're following the market really close, you had to know that, within the next year or two, the NASDAQ was going to come back. So yeah, that's a bit of a reach, but and it could move against you. I've had that happen too. But if you're doing this long term, if you're doing this like a year or two out with a leap option, like Engineer pointed out what those were, then you're going to be, I mean, if you go back to 2022, you had to anticipate by 2024 that everything's going to come back, which is what I've been saying for a while. So Hoffman agreed with you and you thanked him. You asked about this yesterday. TSLY is now short 280 Tesla calls. Oh yeah, we forgot to get into that. And so TSLY is unlikely to rise much more than 7.69% by June 23rd. Okay, this means selling Tesla calls above 1807 should be fairly safe. Another trade idea. Here's some free trading ideas from the engineer. Gotta love it. All right, so you all don't seem too inspired by my massive wealth making strategy, but you will be when I show you the Thinkorswim output. And yeah, there's going to be some time decay and expense ratio and whatnot, but you see the fund is up 141% for the year. All right, and again, this is the same strategy I've used for the UPRO. It's probably netted me maybe 3,000 for the year. Haven't done enough of it because what's happened, I sold too soon. I had it move against me actually, and I was in the red. And then all of a sudden the S&P had a couple of good weeks, and then like I started going up, and then I sold it. But I should have just probably stayed in it, because I've actually done what you said, Hoffman. I exited, then re-entered, then exited a couple times. Whereas if I just had stayed in, it would have been a much better gain. But still, I think I'm in 10 of them now. Let me look. And it's actually, the ones I'm in now are up like 1,500, I want to say. See, the thing is, we can all get to this point when we start generating, life-changing wealth. We get to the point where money is not, like, we're not dependent on a job and whatnot, and it almost can become like a game, you know. So it's like, wow, made. Actually, it dropped today because the S&P went down. It dropped like 400. I was up 1,800 in this, but I'm still, for the year, I'm 3,000 in the UPRO. So theta, it's costing me like $20 or so a day, but the delta is like 540. So if the S&P keeps moving, which I'm going to hold this, it's September 15th, so I'm going to hold. I've got a $47. I'll show this next on the UPRO. Now, the inverse strategy would have worked perfectly in 2022. That would have been um, like the bidirectional shares, the inverse 3x would have worked, to the downside just as well. So yeah, stocks go up in a bull run, 3x stocks go up 3x. But it's more than that. When you're buying an ETF that's optionable and you're buying a bunch of contracts in said ETF, you're really maximizing your leverage. That's right, the SQQQ. So we've got the TQQQ and the SQQQ. Those are the bidirectional ETFs. So this strategy, the inverse of that, would have worked last year. But you are gambling a bit on trying to call the bottom and the top of the market. But see, I knew, like, in summer of last year, I knew, like, within a year everything was going to come back up after we had like one down year. I mean, I didn't know for sure, but I was like 80% sure, I would say. So why didn't I do a lot more of these, right? It just takes focus and discipline. You got to kind of quiet all the different voices in your head and only focus on the right ones, if that makes sense. So I get better at it all the time. I hope I learned something from this meta thing. All right, so let's look at the UPRO now. So, and this is one I've actually done this in this year, like I was saying. So first, let's look at the S&P 500. And what we'll see is that we're up about 16% for the year in the S&P, 15.31% to be exact. Over the past year, we're up 20.26%. So the UPRO is the triple levered S&P ETF. And I've been trading in and out of this one for several years, actually. So this one for a year is up 45%, but nowhere near as well as the NASDAQ one has done. Year to date, we're 44%. So the NASDAQ one has more than 3x'd this one, and it's a 3x ETF. So there you go. You can see, of the comparison, we've already got a conclusion on this. You can see, obviously, the NASDAQ one was the much better play, right? So on this one, I'm close to being in the money on this one because I picked a September 15th strike price of $47. So this is what I'm at right here. And what I do, I pick it because, see, the further you go up, like if you picked $55, you see you're paying a much cheaper price, but you've got to look at other fundamentals too, like delta, theta, and whatnot. So $47 was the one I picked, and it's doing pretty good. Of course, it was down today, but what's weird about options, you'll notice some of them were up. Like the $38 one was up 22%, the $42 one was up 20%, and the $60 one was up 16%. So, like I said, this is a triple levered ETF also. So the same strategy applies here. Now what I'm going to do, I'm going to leave that up as a visual, and I'm going to go into Thinkorswim, which I'm not going to be able to share on the screen, but I'm going to go ahead and generate the visual for the TQQQ. So those of you following along at home, what you would do in the Thinkorswim, you would type in the Analyze tab, you would go to Think Back. So you're going to go to Think Back, and you're going to look at You're going to pick the September 15th at, yeah, the September 15th. What strike did I say? I said $50 for the TQQQ. So $50 on the TQQQ would be a price of, oh, I still have my trade from NVIDIA up here. That would have made $107,000 by now. How about that? From a trade date of August 19th, holding it all the way until today, $107,000. So there's your year salary on just one trade. How about that? Now, TQQQ, I'm going to go back to, I'm going to pick a trade date. Say I would have done this January 3rd, first trading day of the year. Okay. So, wow, the NVIDIA one is crazy, the delta and the theta. I still have it up here. All right, so this one, and then we're going to call this, let's see, as of today, September 15th expiring, trade date would have been January 3rd. Why is this not generating a profit and loss? Let's see, come on. Trying to figure this out live here. Doing it live. Well, that was a trade date. Not sure why it's not generating a P&L. Let's go back. Let's pick another date. It's not generating a P&L for some reason. Well, this is strange. It's just saying not traded. Let me pick a different strike and see what it says here. Okay, this one, I picked a $45 strike. All right, for some reason, it was an issue with the strike, I guess. So I'm going to pick, for think back, I'm going to pick, it's telling me the same thing. Why is that? Very strange. Let me see if UPRO does the same thing. I'm going to type in UPRO. See if this one does the same. UPRO, September 15th. I'll do the one I actually got. $47 strike. This will be the fourth one in here. Let's see. There's something I'm not doing. It's giving me this error for all of these. Let me X out of NVIDIA. Profit and loss date. Let me just maybe move it to today's date. See if that makes a difference. I don't know what's going on here with this. Why is it's saying not traded? I don't understand. All right, I guess I'll come back to this. I should have had this ready before the video. But anyway, let me check comments again here. I got 12 of you on. See, talk about options. We had 20 at one point, and then you all realized I was talking about options, and then had some of you leave. All right, let me see. Engineer says, leveraged ETFs are great when markets are moving with you, but you eat losses holding through ranging or choppy markets. Yeah, it's true. If holding more than a few days, it's best to short them. Yes, sir. TQQQ for day swing trades. What are the indicators you use to choose a stock to do an options trade on? I'll be right back. I've got my main one. The main indicator is the 8 ball. So what I do, I say 8 ball. Should I trade TQQQ Monday? Actually, Monday's a holiday, so Should I trade it Tuesday? And then I see what the 8 ball says. This is how I make investment decisions. Pretty sound logic, right? And it says, this is starting to go out too, so the 8 ball is a little bit broken. It just takes longer to come up with an answer. I think it says outlook not so good. So um, that's one way. It's a little bit of a joke, obviously, but the other things I look at, I just know. I just know like what the Fed's going to do. I look at like macroeconomic information. I like in the beginning of 2022, most everyone knew that the Fed was going to start raising rates, which meant the market was going to drop. A lot of the froth was going to come off of the top of the market. And then after a year or so, the Fed's going to reverse course. So that's probably the main thing I look at from a macroeconomic standpoint. I feel like the best catalyst for stocks, one way or another, is Fed policy when it comes to interest rates. So, all right, Sam Talks Finance is on. I'm about to almost go all in on TSLY. Yeah, I should have put something about the yield max funds in the title. I'd be getting more views on the live stream, of course. But I actually am really enticed to get like do not do everything in, but do a lot more. Basically, I want to be able to say, okay, I'm getting like a full-time salary from TSLY. That would be really cool. Hoffman says, "Oh God, no." I'm not sure what that was about. At Tatiana, first you have to have a trade investment thesis, and that will help you decide what kind of time frame. Then you can choose strikes based on desirable delta theta ratios or technical analysis. He is right. God said he's cool with it. LOL. I have other holdings for sure, but I want that income more than growth over decades. I do too. That's the main draw, right? Was doing the math on TSLY today. Since inception and using the averages for TSLY to move $1, Tesla needs to move 24. Yeah, that sounds about right. That's kind of a big move. Every month you get your 80 cents in dividends. The funds drops 80 cents. You need Tesla to go up 1960 just to break even. Yeah, but not necessarily, because since April we've been going up. We're up like $3 in TSLY since the bottom. It seems like, right? Do you think Tesla currently has that much upside left? Tesla was like $1,000 stock back in the day, like in 2020, 2021. What did Tesla peak at? Because I tell you what, Tesla made many a millionaire on YouTube, especially people on here. And that's kind of what inspired me to get going on here. Like you look at a lot of people on here that are like my age or even younger, and they just happen to have better timing than me. They got a lot into Tesla and they became multimillionaires on one stock. They got lucky. Tesla millionaires, I call them. So if you look at the peak, well, you know what? I'm saying $1,000 like before the split. Actually, the peak. Well, this makes me feel really dumb. I won't even tell you all the option strike price I got into for Tesla. I picked one that was so far out because I wanted to get in cheap, but basically, there's no way it'll ever even get there. So the peak of Tesla, 371, and that was October 25th, 2021. So, wow, if we go up, basically, we may have another $100 of room to run. I thought who knows? We could get back to the pre-split price. It used to be like 1,000 or so. Some people think it's going to go to like 2,000. So you said I'm holding both, not too worried or hurt about it. I'm one of the firm believers that Tesla will end up 2K or more a share. Tatiana's on here flirting with everyone. Thank you, Mr. Blake. I'm far from getting into options. Well, you'll get there. You'll get there one day. I have faith in you. And perhaps it does, but what you'll make in income makes up for it, especially if you drip. Yeah, I think so. Even like with Clip, because what Hoffman's saying about TSLY is kind of what I felt about Clip. But if you buy in at these lower prices, uh, you're going to do a lot better. If you got in at the peak, then you have a lot more to recover, obviously. So Hoffman, I take it, is not the biggest fan of TSLY, but good luck. Wishes you all to be successful. Oh, a new fan, Young Farang. Hope you subscribe. Do you think TSLY would be around as long as Tesla would be around? Well, it has to, because what would happen if that's like That's like almost. I feel like that's almost like saying, "Will my ice be around as long as my freezer is around?" or something. Like one's dependent on the other in a way. I'm concerned if TSLY will still be around for the next few years. I'm almost going to break out the space helmet for you on that one, but I'll leave you alone since you're new. Thanks for joining, by the way. I like to tease everyone, so Oh, 1761. You must be number 1761. We hit 1760 today, by the way. So picked up like 33 new followers from the the stream that I had with Jay. So that was good. Trying to get him back on, by the way. Anyway, Coach, you need to put up a disclaimer. You have people wanting to sell their houses to buy TSLY. Yeah, you're absolutely right. Hey, I'm not telling you to do that. If you all do that, I've joked about that myself, but would I actually do that? Probably not. Because for one thing, I have to have a place to live. I don't live in a big city that with a big homeless population. You know, so it wouldn't be feasible for me to be homeless I could take all my money from my house, but then I'd be homeless. I could be a homeless Tesla millionaire, so to speak. But then I've got to go somewhere else. I've got to rent. I've got to find roommates or something. But so my disclaimer: none of this is advice on here, and I don't know who on here is thinking about selling their house to buy TSLY. I know I've half jokingly mentioned that, but I appreciate from you, Hoffman. I appreciate you know the suggestion because absolutely not recommending anybody to do that at all. Oh, Join Jen is back on. If you do not think Tesla has a future, TSLY may not be for you. That's a good way to state it for sure. Engineer Blake, Tatiana, start by learning the Greeks, then look at selling covered calls. They are pretty much the lowest risk option trades. Lots of videos on YouTube on covered calls for beginners. Well, not to worry, you don't need to venture past this channel. I've talked about covered calls like a year ago. And I know, Tatiana, you said you binge watched me. So go back like a year. I explain covered calls. It's funny. I laugh a little bit that the engineer says that covered calls are so safe because I had the strategy blow up in my face a couple times. That was probably partially my own fault. I was doing covered calls on Blackstone stock because I had a bunch of Blackstone stock, but I ended up getting called out of it. It's like the old parable, the guy that built the wings and got too close to the sun. Was it Icarus? Got too close to the sun and the wings melted and he crashed into the sea. That can happen on covered calls. The way it works, like if you want to squeeze out, because I had it down with the Blackstone stock. I had it to where I was almost getting $1,000 a week, and I kind of went nuts. I'm like, I can do this every week, make 52,000 a year. I can retire. Well, it worked for me for 3 weeks in a row, and then by week 4, completely blew it up and negated everything I gained for those first 3 weeks because I got too close to the sun, and the wings melted, so to speak. So what happened? We had Ironically, I remember the day. It was the day we had a big Supreme Court decision on, I think it was the Roe versus Wade. And for whatever reason, ironically, the market soared that day. And Blackstone stock happened to go up like $6 and it completely blew up because I was waiting for it to expire out of the money and I was just going to keep the premium. But it blew up. And because I didn't want to get called, it suddenly moved in the money on the last day. And because I didn't want to lose hundreds of shares of Blackstone, I had to buy it back, and buying it back at a higher premium negated the last couple of weeks of premiums that I had pocketed, basically. So, from my own personal experience, I do find it funny that others consider covered calls to be so safe. Granted, I don't disagree with you. I mean, you're a lot more experienced on it than I am, but I'm just sharing my personal experience. Denny Keaton joined, said howdy, welcome. Have you commented anything else in a while, or you just say hi? Oh, here's Rogue Dragon Rider. Gotta go. Well, thank you for joining, Rogue Dragon Rider. I hope you enjoyed it. It did splits. Do not put all your dollars in one asset. That's practically a sure way to go broke. There's some other ways to go broke too. Like they say, go woke, go broke. That's just for you. Anyway, just thought I would that fit the context there. Never fall in love with investments. Yeah, I'm guilty of that sometimes. Oh, you did comment some other stuff. TSLY. I knew it. I knew it was coming. So for the person that asked if TSLY is dependent on Tesla, I know you're new, but we got to kind of make an example. That was a space helmet question. So it's the joke is, like a space cadet has to wear the space helmet. Of course, we're virtual, so it's not like you can just put it on. But yeah, so Denny Keaton pointed out space helmet time. A little bit of a joke. Fix up a van and live in it. You know what I always wanted to do? I used to like Scooby Doo as a kid, so I always wanted to paint a van up like the Mystery Machine. I've seen one before, but I want to drive around in something like that. But what I would rather do more so than that, I want to paint it like my THB logo and have my channel and all of that. And actually, I've thought about doing that off the grid lifestyle. And I looked into this a year ago, like with the whole RV and stuff like that. But your costs are a lot. Like if you think about it, electricity is going to run you at like $1 an hour, which some of you may laugh at that, like, oh, he's worried about $1 an hour. That's a high run rate. If you think about how many hours are in a day and a year, that's a very high run rate. So I was looking at all that and like gas and like propane and all the things that go into it. It's a big lifestyle change for one thing. It's a lot of change. But I've shot some videos in the mountains before, and I've seen other channels, actually other financial channels have gone to that off the grid lifestyle, and it's very appealing. You go somewhere, you're like in Colorado in the mountains, you're at a creek or something, you're probably wafting the smell of the green substance in a state like that, but you're having fun, you know? So, but the thing is, so like of course, you're not going to be running like your AC and all that. Everything's not going to run 24 hours a day. But if you think about how many hours are in like a year, you know, um, I mean, that's a lot. I mean, you're going to be, here's the thing, your costs offset, right? So if you're paying rent, you're paying a mortgage or whatever, you'll be saving that. But your costs are going to be a lot higher, especially like if you think about last year when gas prices were up to like 5, 6, and $7 in some states. And an RV, what do you think an RV gets for fuel economy? What, 2 miles per gallon or something, or maybe less than 10? So at the time, it just wasn't feasible. But long story short, I have had that idea, join Jen. So, and glad to see you back on, by the way. I am a fan of both TSLY and TSLA, not selling your house to buy it. I agree. A better option strategy would be to split the dividend, distribute half, reinvest half in the fund. Honestly, when I said the whole thing about buying a house, or I mean, selling your house, there's like what I call pipe dreams and there's reality. So for me, like if you take like a $400,000 house or something like that, it's very tempting on paper. You think, oh, 400,000. You're not going to net that for one thing. You're going to have a mortgage to pay off. You're going to have realtor fees. You're going to have a lot of things. You're not going to net that for one thing. But it's appealing. Like you just think about it. You're kind of like more or less daydreaming. But it's not something I would advise at all. Not that I give advice, but it's not something I would advise. But just saying, like it was when TSLY was $15 a share, you get that many shares and it's like an 80-cent dividend, you would make like 20,000 a month. But then you're either going to be homeless or, build out the mystery machine or rent a van, like Join Jen said. So, but yeah, I mean that is a good suggestion too. Um, I'm just asking if TSLY will be around for the next 30 years, if the yield max TSLY would be a good buy and hold. Let's see. Will TSLY be around for the next 30 years? Signs point to yes. Now, I don't agree with all the answers the 8 ball gives, but it's just one, it's kind of a joke. But I don't know. Will it? I mean, who knows at this point? It's not even a year old yet. So, anyway, uh, people thought Sears, perfect. I couldn't have said it better myself. People thought Sears, Polaroid, many others would be around. Nothing is for sure except change. That's true. The only constant is change. Although the Polaroids were cool. I think I have one somewhere in the house here. I've collected stuff like from old relatives. I don't know about that, Jen. People go all in on VOO. I'm sure people hold basically all Apple or KO, and sure, it may flatline, but I feel like you have to take on risk to reap a massive benefit. That's true. Risk reward. Speaking of risk, by the way, me personally, I've been in stocks that have gone bankrupt. I was in a couple of fracking companies that went completely bankrupt, and I just stayed in and lost everything. But I've done well enough as an investor to offset that. So the VOOO, honestly, at the price of this one, I would pick another one because you all that have followed me for a while, you know how I feel about this. Every fund company has the same funds basically. Vanguard, Fidelity, JP Morgan, BlackRock. They all have their own S&P fund, large cap, small cap, mid cap. So some of them are at a better price than others. The ones that are really expensive, I would probably pick one that has a cheaper one, basically a cheaper price, right? That's just the way I look at it. I like buying cheaper because for some reason I feel like it has more upside. Even though all of these funds that are indexed for the S&P should all perform the same, right? In theory, the Fidelity S&P, the Vanguard S&P, the BlackRock S&P, like shouldn't they all more or less perform the same? And that's one thing about a 401k that always irks me is that you're confined to whatever the employer offers. Now the good thing, whenever you leave your employer, you can move your 401k. I don't recommend this, but I've thought about it. You can move your 401k into like Ameritrade or something, do whatever you want with it, put it in whatever funds you want, optionable funds or whatnot. So, when you start doing stuff like that, making massive gains, it'll want you to eat more beans. Speaking of, look who showed up. If you do not like covered calls, why invest in Yield Max? I didn't say I don't like them. It's just when I've done them myself, it's blown up in my face. Actually, it makes me like Yield Max more because I've got someone else doing it for me. So I don't have to think about it all the time. So that's honestly, if you think about it, if you're not great at covered calls, you have a fund manager doing it for you, right? Sure, many safe stocks held may get to a livable dividend point over time. Yeah, but I've tried that. Learned from my experience, like with AT&T, you're not going to get there just on stock. Stocks don't pay the same dividends like the ETFs do. Trust me on that. But if I can get there in 5 years instead of 15, I'll risk it. I agree. Shorten the time horizon, right? That's why you don't invest what you can't afford to lose. That's true. That's true. Well said. Uh, VOOO is very diversified, not a single asset. Okay. You just need to be willing to let them take your 100 shares per contract. That's true. That's really the worst that can happen. You're collecting a premium, but you may end up losing your shares. Walk away with your gains and go buy something else. Yeah. Oh, thank you again from Tatiana there. I added some TSLY today. Good for you. I want to get to around 1,200 a month and move to Southeast Asia. What's your fastest strategy from zero? Oh, these questions are interesting. From zero. That's always the trick, isn't it? We all kind of start at zero, but the hardest part's getting started, right? So, um, what's your picture? You have a diving mask? Interesting. Um, you know what you could do starting from zero? You could become like you could do your diving stuff on social media, become an influencer, make your money that way, and then retire in Southeast Asia. I don't know. I'd have to know more about your situation. Like, what do you do for a living? Do you have money coming in? Are you able to save? Those are things that are important. Like, if you can save 20% of your income and start investing it, it's hard to get started. I'm glad I'm not there where I was starting. I'm glad I'm where I am now because honestly, getting started from zero kind of sucks because you're going to have to work for many, many years. You know, not to discourage you. The hardest part is getting started. All right. Wow, Denny Keaton's vocal tonight. TSLY will be around as long as Tesla will be around. It's just a derivative and options play on Tesla. But I got a question. Someone wasn't sure if it would be around if something happened to Tesla or something. Camper van life is just as bad as renting an apartment. It could be worse. I mean, depending on like roommates, right? Join Jen. I'm driving the Oregon coast now, overnighter in the cute town of Bandon. That's funny because in Tampa, so I'm near, it's a town called Brandon, which is a suburb of Tampa. So one letter off. How close are you to Portland? That's probably one of your favorite towns, right? Do you ever roll down your windows and smell the green substance? I know if you go down to like near where my cousin is, it's like you can get that secondhand, smell just opening your doors sometimes. Clement Yap is on. Good evening to you. Yeah, good evening to you too, Mr. Yap. At Young Farang, caution incredibly unwise. Hey, spoken very well. Didn't quite want to say that, but take out a loan, buy dividend stocks. Ooh, you like debt? Take out a loan. But here's the thing: if you're starting from zero, what are you going to use to take out debt? Like, what collateral are you going to use if you're starting from zero? What's your thought process on that? I'm anxious to know. Margin up with your broker, buy more dividend stocks, show your new income to the bank, get a new loan, rinse and repeat. Interesting. Let me read that again. Margin up with your broker, buy. That's kind of, I've never done that. That's, to me, that's kind of risky. I'm not saying it wouldn't work, but it's kind of risky. Buy more dividend stocks, show your new income to the bank. It's not a bad idea. It's just the margin stuff scares me. Okay. My long term is 3 to 5 years, not 30 years. Okay, well, that's good for you. And I'm buying TSLY regularly. Oh, I love this name here. Fibonacci. Great name. You've got to be a subscriber with a name like that. Very clever. Very clever. We should talk about the Fibonacci, by the way. Just found out you can sell covered calls on TSLY. Well, yeah, it's an ETF. Oh, 1763. We're gaining. We're going up. I have buy limit orders in all the time. Okay, good for you. 14 miles south of Coos Bay, 250 miles from Portland, headed to Seattle to see a sister. Oh, another great city. I was just there at the airport seeing my cousin. Well, she's in Reading, but we flew from Tampa to Seattle, which I think that's like the longest trip in the continental U.S., if I'm not mistaken. So we flew into Seattle on a layover, and then we went down to Reading. So I was there both ways, actually, the same layover. Young Farang, LOL. I was just snorkeling. Oh, okay, cool. I'd like to snorkel. You know, that's definitely something on the bucket list for sure. I work a 9 to 5. Want to get 1,200 in dividends within 3 years. I can invest like 1,500 a month. That's why I asked about TSLY. Uh, that might be doable. Let's see. So if you were to buy in at the current price, just saying other things equal, saying that 1,500 divided by what are we at? We went way up today. We're at like 1675. You'd get 89 shares times zero point 0.8. You'd get like 71 bucks. So if you were able to invest, this is fun. I haven't done an example like this in a while. I need to break out the old spreadsheet. Say it were to drop to 15, just to make the math simpler. You could get 1,200 shares of TSLY per year. Am I doing this right? 80 cents. Yeah, that's 960. Hold on. 1,500 a month is 18,000 a year. Divided by, say it dropped to 15, you would buy 1,200 shares of TSLY. You'd make 960 a month. So you'd be close. You would be close. Depending if the dividend goes up, you could hit that, but it also could drop too. So keep that in mind. 1,200 a month goes far in Vietnam and Thailand. Yeah, Thailand. That's a fun place. Always wanted to go there. Reading is pretty. Yeah, they should call it greening actually, for reasons unsaid. Sell puts on TSLY. Learn the language if you move to Southeast Asia. Yeah, which one? I mean, all those countries have different languages, right? My old boss had a funny story. They went to Vietnam on like a vacation, and they were boating, and he got lost. And they were, I'm sorry, they were like boating. Then they were on like a canoe trip, and he ventured off from the pack, and he canoed away, and then he ended up getting lost, and then he got captured by some ship, and he didn't know the language, and so he was afraid he was gonna like get killed or something. He was afraid he got captured like by pirates or something. So it was quite a story, and he was trying to do like the sign language with them and whatnot, and come to find out, like they looked at his hand, they looked at something to try to figure out who he was, and they ended up getting him back to his family and stuff. But it was kind of a funny story. He like got captured by like a Vietnamese crew or something and didn't know the language at all. So, I mean, pick the language where you want to be for sure, especially if you get captured by, a crew in the country you're in. You definitely want to be able to speak the language, right? All right. So, I've been on comments for a while here, but I was trying to look at Think or Swim because for some reason, well, yeah, you want to be the captain in that case for sure. Or do you? Um, I was on, it's funny, speaking of Reading. So I was at Mount Shasta a year ago. That's the mountain that I shot those videos on, by the way. Those of you that go far back in my history, I shot videos on a mountain that was Mount Shasta. So there's a lot of urban legends about Mount Shasta. I didn't see anything out of the ordinary, but there's all these stories about like the Lumerians or whatever, and supposedly like they capture people and take them into their encampment, and they can basically. This is a complete side rant, but they're supposed to be like shapeshifters. If any of you've ever heard of that, and apparently, what they can do when they shapeshift, they can appear as like one of your relatives that you're with or somebody that you're with. So you think that it's like there's my cousin or whatever, and then you follow them, and then they apparently capture you and take you into their encampment or whatever. But the way to distinguish, they have some kind of a glow about them, so you're supposed to be able to tell that something's a little off. But yeah, and you can tell it's really cool. I want to go back there. You can tell just driving through the town, there's something going on because there's all these like spiritual shops and like there's all these like alien references and stuff. You can tell there's some kind of influence there just by driving through the town. It was really neat. But I will say nothing out of the ordinary happened to me. So I don't think if they were there, they didn't want anything with me. So, who knows? I'm just, they weren't looking for me. So that's good. Anyway, it was funny when we were there because my aunt told us not to go. And so we filmed a funny skit there. I actually have a silly channel. It's a YouTube channel, but uh, we filmed a skit like where we got captured, and it was really creative. Like I took this rock and I made it look like footprints, like from Bigfoot or something, because there was snow on the ground because you're at like 5,000 feet elevation. You couldn't go any higher. The mountain's like 15,000 feet tall, but we could only go to like I think actually I have pictures of it. I think the highest point we went might have been 7,000 feet elevation, and of course at that elevation there's a lot of snow and stuff. So we filmed a skit like where like we lost her, like she got captured, and we sent it to my aunt, and she was like, "I told you all not to go there," and we had her going for a good while, and then we said, "Oh no, 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 we were just joking. She's here, we're fine." But we had her going for a while. It was fun. Anyway, let me find that picture here. This is obviously a side rant, but I'm gonna find the picture and then we'll move on. I got to go back over a year. This was May of 2022. So let me see here. Going back into that was a fun trip. We were in Redding, Mount Shasta, then LA. We actually started in Vegas and drove all the way up because of Spirit Airlines. That was another story. They canceled the flight at the last minute, so I had to book a round trip to Vegas. And then we drove. It would talk about a road trip on top of a flight. Talk about travel in a day. That's the most travel in a day, aside from when I went to Hawaii and was in like 3 different time zones. Most travel in a day because I flew from Hawaii back to LA and then from LA back to Tampa all in one day basically. And I tell you what, it felt like just one continuous day. So that and the last year's trip were tied for the most traveling that I've ever done in a day. But anyway, let me find this picture real quick and then I'll get back to business here. I actually saved the map there. That's the summit of the mountain. That's the dot was where we were. That's as close as we got. Um, that's actually that's on the mountain in the snow. Let me stop the screen share real quick so you all can see. Let's see. So got a lot of good pictures from there. This was driving up the mountain. Video driving up the mountain there. See, or moving motion picture. And then yeah, obviously it's snowing. I just want to find. Let's see. I took a picture like at the visitor center. Give me just a second here. I'm gonna pull it up, and then I promise we'll move on. You know what? I must have recorded a video because it's not coming up in a picture. Oh, here it is. This was this is the visitor center on the mountain. Let's see. I just want to see. Give me a second here. It tells you the elevation. I know I'm completely sidetracked here. Dang, where is that? Bear with me here. Anyway, all right, I'll keep looking and I'll just get back to comments here. Do not be a pirate captain versus the U.S. military. That's true. That happened before, right? Learning Thai, would you diversify with yield max? What would you add here for growth? Um, Me personally, I'm only in TSLY. I don't think I would get into any of the others. Mount Shasta is allegedly very haunted, says Native Americans. Yeah, that's interesting. Definitely. I've heard that too. TSLY, NVDY, SVOL, SPY are the usual suspects. Yeah, that's a good foursome there. Since yield max is so far paying out 30 to 60% a year, that is a great start. 100% agreed. Yeah. I just hope we can sustain it. So, darn it, I really. Oh, there it is right here. That was the maximum elevation, that the visitor center. 69, almost 7,000 feet. 7,000 feet elevation. There you go. It was in that clip. I was almost there. Okay. Um, so back to think or swim. I'm trying to pull up. I may have to just do this the old-fashioned way by hand because for some reason think or swim is not letting me figure this out. Let me see where we were. Hmm. I've got the chart for it. Huh. So we were. Hang on. I don't know why this isn't populating for me. I'm really at a loss. So I'm on Think Back, June 15th. Maybe I'll go to June 16th. Um, I don't understand why this isn't. I don't understand why this isn't populating. Anyway, I was trying to come up with a big number for you all. And I know this would have been a massive gain so taking the TQQQ between, you know what? How about this? Can someone else come up with the number for me? How about you, engineer? Can you work on this for me? I'm trying to come up with a number. I can figure it out, but I don't know why Thinkorswim is not cooperating with me. So I'm saying, for argument's sake, January 3rd was when the trade would have been made, right? I've got buy 10 contracts of TQQQ. I've got a $50 strike and then a $45 strike. And for some reason, the P&L is not populating, and I don't understand why. Let me see if it works for. No, I can't do because NASDAQ is an index. Why is this thing not populating? That's really, really driving me nuts now. Single buy 10 TQQQ. I don't understand why this isn't populating. It's really driving me nuts. Huh. What is it that I'm not doing? For some reason, it's not. Like I say, it's not populating. Let me just try a stop just to see, make sure this thing's actually working. I'll type in NVIDIA again. I'm gonna do NVIDIA September 15th, 320. Wait, which one? Where's the strike? No, I want to do a 325 strike. $325 strike. I'm gonna have to leave you on a cliffhanger, which I hate to do. I feel like a typical TV production now. I wanted to have an actual result here. There's something I'm not doing correctly. Oh, wait a second. No, the trade date. I'm gonna say from January in the video. Let's see. Okay, this one I figured this one out. This one. Oh, wow. How about this? If I bought the September 15th options January 3rd, that would have been $113,000 in 6 months. Pretty good profit for 6 months, huh? With 10 contracts. But why is the ETF not populating? Is it something with the ETF? Let me see. I've got everything is the same. It's just not giving me. What is this? It's not giving me. Wait a second. Did I select? Huh. Let me try something again here. TQQQ. Maybe I didn't pick something correctly. September 15th. Let's see. September 15th. TQQQ. September 15th. $50 strike. Maybe I didn't pick the price. Don't tell me it was that simple. Well, no, it's still not giving me anything. Oh, wait a second. Well, I do have a price now. All right, we're getting warmer. We're getting warmer. Might still figure this out. Ah, I think we have it. So for some reason, okay, I figured out my mistake. For some reason, I didn't pick a price. Well, no, now we're not. What the hell is going on here, man? This is ridiculous. Let me go back again up here. January 3rd. Okay, all right. I think I figured it out. I think I figured this out. Please tell me. Please tell me. No, wait a second. Oh, is there not? I'm totally lost on this. Maybe there wasn't a September 15th or it wasn't available at the time. I don't know. This is acting really weird on me. Because I just reset the date and the think back. Let me come back to the comments here. I don't want to bore too many of you. Ooh, got a lot of you here. Why are there so many yield trap crybabies on Reddit? There's a lot of crybabies. And like Hoffman mentioned, the whole example about selling the house, trust me, I've seen more ludicrous examples on here. Like if you look at some of the big channels on here, I don't even want to get started on them. I'm surprised that some of them are still in business. They don't understand total return. Yeah, that's true. And just look at the whole thing with the meme stock phase, right? With GameStop and whatnot. At Young Farang, I'm currently throwing all my spare change into a company called High Tide Hitty. It's almost like city with an H. Tide is high, but you're holding on, right? To quote a song from the 90s. Do your own due diligence, double D. Don't buy things based on the suggestions of randos on the internet. That's true. And I hope I'm not a rando on the internet. Perfect advice. True. Oh, somebody named Tyler is on. Did you subscribe? We're about to hit another milestone, and you could be part of it. Welcome to the channel, though. Everybody new. We're picking up new people every day. So welcome to the channel. It could be that Thinkorswim is undergoing maintenance. You know what? That's a good suggestion. But that's not it, because the NVIDIA one worked for me. So that's not it. Shoot, the way that's going, I may send them the space helmet. I may mail their engineers the space helmet. No, I wouldn't do that. I'm keeping this here. Anyway, well, welcome to the channel. All right, let's see. Engineer, if you know the strike price and today's share price, you should be able to estimate its present value, then subtract your cost basis, then divide that value by the cost basis to find gains. That's what I'm trying to do, but I want that visual. Just do QQQ multiplied by 3. Yeah, but it's something with the ETFs that's not populating by. JG1982, welcome. You know, I noticed, because I noticed these things. You're one of like 3 people that's ever super chatted me. You and Glenn Furs and Damon Rydell are the 3. So you all are in a special club. You hold a special place in my heart. And those 2 super chatted me twice. Actually, I think one of them, no, they both did it twice. Anyway, just thought I'd throw that out there. So thank you for that again. More bang for bucks, right? I didn't even read your comment. I did double dividends last month between TSLY and Clip with about 20,000. Just waited a few days until I price recovered from X dividend. Working pretty good so far. I got to read that again. I did double dividends last month between TSLY and Clip with about 20,000 in gains for a month. That's good for you. Just waited a few days until price recovered from X dividend. Working pretty good so far. Oh, okay, until the price recovered from the X dividend. Okay, so more bang for the bucks. That's good. What X dividend big names are coming up? I'll have to look into that. It seems like TSLY is good unless Tesla gets Hulk smashed. And you are Rock and Roll 77. Welcome to the channel. Hope you subscribed also. You definitely seem new. I've seen about 5 of you that are new, so hope you subscribe. Oh, the subscribe count hasn't jumped. So we need you all to subscribe. We're still at 1763. So, all right, your comment. It seems like TSLY is good unless Tesla gets Hulk smashed. Then it goes to heck. But if Tesla sideways or up, then probably based on what Jay said, should be decent if volume stays up. Yeah, I mean, he said it best. He's the fund manager after all. So yeah, I mean, and that's what happened. Like, if you also heard what he said, he mentioned that when they went public, basically when TSLY debuted, that was probably the worst time for them to debut the way Tesla stock behaved. So anyway, all right. Engineer says, at Hoffman Unfiltered, the correlation is not perfect. If it goes down by 10%, you now have to go up by 11% to reach break even. If you have something that goes down by 50%, you have to double. That's the concerning part about it for sure. I'm just focusing on TSLY and Clip myself, less complicated for me. Sounds like you're doing really well. I mean, 20,000 a month. I mean, I think we would all take that. 20,000 a month. Thumbs up. William is on. Do you think in July, Tesla next meeting, it will drop again like in April? It depends on earnings, because the reason it dropped, earnings weren't bad, but the street overreacted to flat earnings, basically. I don't think so, because they will report a lot of car sales. Also, Elon stepped down from Twitter. People see Tesla is doing really good. That's true. Well, like what's his name? Rob Smith always says now that Elon can focus fully on Tesla again. And I do agree, him buying Twitter was much needed for our society. We needed to free that up. So it was costly, but I'm glad he did it. But now that he'll be fully focused on Tesla again, I do think we're going to see a run up again. Depends on if they have numbers to announce about Ford and GM using the Tesla charging stations. Um, oh yeah, that's true. Well, the other car companies, their electric cars are crap compared to Tesla. And now Rivian, I've seen like 3 Rivians now, which is funny because a year ago I saw my first one, then I saw my second one a few weeks ago, and then I just saw my third one the other day. So it's like every time I see one, it's like good luck. So yeah, it depends on if they have numbers to announce about Ford and GM using the Tesla charging stations. I forgot about that. They're all sharing, I guess. Rex shares coming out with 20 ETFs, apparently that are synthetic, long driven, copying yield max. Someone else told me about Rex shares too. By the way, another reminder, make sure you subscribe if you haven't already. Become a permanent member of the channel. We need to get that count up to 1,800. We're almost there. And then next stop is 2,000. So Rex shares. Let me look at Rex shares here. And I really want to get at least one example for you all from Thinkorswim before I sign off. Of course, you all are keeping me on. Now, this model, I don't mean to say this to be arrogant or full of myself or anything, but facts are facts. The channel is growing. So this whole model of going through every comment, while I do enjoy it, and I know you all enjoy your comments getting, featured live and stuff, at some point, we'll be going for hours, if I keep doing this. So like I said the other day, it may come to a point, and I'm not doing this to be any way, but it's just, in the interest of time, it may come to a point where the comments that super chat me are the ones that get noticed, So anyway, let me look up. Wait a second. Not sure what expense ratio is. Are you saying that like you don't know what expense ratio means? Or are you saying the expense ratio for a certain fund? Well, I guess I'll answer both questions if they both if I sort of saw 2 questions there, so I'll just answer both. So expense ratio is, why'd you say, you said the same thing twice. Oh, there. Oh, you put the word there. Okay, gotcha. Okay. Well, I'm sure there are people that watch me that don't know what expense ratio is, so I'll go ahead and answer that anyway. Expense ratio is basically the cost of the ETF. Basically, it's what they charge for managing the fund. It's like a hidden cost. The way I explain expense ratio, and mutual funds are way worse. Of course, I say stay away from mutual funds as much as possible. Avoid them at all costs, I would say. The way it works, if the fund does like 15% a year, the expense ratio is going to be, say it's 0.99, just say 1%. So basically, it's going to shave off of the top. It's like they take their haircut off of the top. So then the fund is only going to return 14%. That's how it works. For Rex shares, I got to look up Rex shares. Someone else pointed out Rex shares. Let me see here. Rex shares. Fairfield, Connecticut. Hey, if anybody knows that fund manager, maybe we can get him on here too, or her. Single stock ETFs are coming soon, so they're going to compete with Yield Max. It sounds like. So that is the site. And let's see, sign up. Don't want to do that. What does Rex Shares do? Rex Shares LLC is a provider of ETFs, ETPs, exchange traded products. That's the umbrella term, I guess. The company specializes in creating investment vehicles that solve specific access or efficiency challenges in investor and trader portfolios. Okay. Oh, I missed a comment from JG1982. Sorry for misunderstanding. I meant 20 cash switched between TSLY and, oh, not 20,000. Well, you had me convinced. You could have just ran with that. I thought you were making 20,000 a month. Because I mean, there are people on here that do that. Not me, not yet, but there are people in the audience that do that. I would love 20K in profit per month. Wouldn't we all? Wouldn't we all? Okay, did I miss any other comments here? Oh yeah, I got that one. Got that one. Let me take one more crack at the Thinkorswim. Engineer, are you still on? Can you? I gave you all the specs. Can you calculate that for me? If I don't get Thinkorswim to work, I hate to leave you all in a cliffhanger, you know. But I will find out eventually. I will find this out. Let me see if I pick a different strike date. It keeps telling me not traded. So I'm not sure what it is that I'm not doing properly. Oh, this one. Oh, this one's already expired. Hold on a second. Let me see if I go further out. January 2024. Okay, January 2024 actually populates with a P&L. So at this point, if you had bought 10 contracts, okay, we got something here. We're cooking now. If you had bought 10 contracts of TQQQ January 3rd at a January 19th, 2024 expiration, so like a year out, which would be a true leap, a year or more. This would be a long-term capital gain also. So you would have made at this point $3,220 even. Pretty good. So that one populates. Now let's look at, let's see here. Let's look at January 2025. That one doesn't populate. For some reason, only certain expiration dates populate on here. I'm not sure why. Let me readjust here. Let's see if June 15th, if we get anything. No, we don't. All right, so we only get something from certain, like I said, from January 19th, 2024. So not quite as impressive as I thought, but I'm going to work on the other ones. But at least we got a number. At least we got some kind of a number. I got a question for you all. When I'm changing screens, is my screen going black? Is my main screen going black when I'm changing screens? Because what I'm doing, StreamYard that I use, it integrates with my Chrome browser. So when I'm in the browser, it's showing, but I keep seeing like a black screen. Like right now, tell me if the screen is going black. Is it black right now, or can you still see me? Because when I come back to it, it looks black. So somebody tell me. Okay, and let's see here. Engineer says, the only managed fund I know of that has an attractive expense ratio is Monish Pabrai. Is that a fund or that's a fund manager? He doesn't charge anything until he makes more than 6%. Well, that's awfully noble of him. We need more people like him. And then after he takes a fourth of the gains. Interesting. Thing I like about TSLY is I think the underlying Tesla gonna rock Megapacks plus automobile, refresh cycle, plus humanoid robots, plus full self-driving software value, plus robotaxis, plus Dojo supercomputer. I won't even pretend to know what half of those are, but sounds interesting for sure. As long as it makes the bottom line better, that's what I care about. But definitely sounds very fascinating, like out of a sci-fi film or something. The thing about it is, like, the audience, we have a really good debate on this pretty much every time we talk about it. TSLY because of the covered call strategy, it's never gonna like run up as fast as Tesla does. Tesla has gone up, and a lot of what the audience has been complaining about, if you look at it, so TSLY has only gone up like $3 a share, while Tesla stock has gone up $100. So if you calculate it, basically somebody said every $24 for a dollar, it's worse than that. Divide 100 by 3, basically. What are you going to get? 33? Yeah, 33, right? So for every dollar gain in TSLY, it takes like $33 in Tesla stock to gain a dollar in TSLY, but we're getting nice dividends. So would I do everything in TSLY? Certainly not. I would just do enough to get the dividends. Because for me, and again, what works for me doesn't work for everybody. This is just what I like. What I would like to have is, all right, I've got this piece of my portfolio in this dividend ETF. This pays me enough to live on. So if anything happened to that old job, I don't need to worry about income because I've got this to fall back on. That's what I like. It's like a cushion. But would I do everything in that? Certainly not. You know. Uh, Join Jen said, "Are any Rex shares trading yet?" That's a good question. I don't know. You'll have to ask our resident Rex expert because I don't really know anything about it. That's why I have you all in the audience that know this stuff. It makes a true community. So you want to answer that there for her? Yeah, I love that thinking. Yeah, 100% agreed. Did you subscribe to the channel, by the way? Because not trying to press the issue, but I keep checking. I got to see my count go up. It's important to my personal ego to see that count go up. I'm just kidding a little bit, but it's always good when new people join to see them subscribe. You did? Oh, well, good for you. Well, thank you. How long have you been watching, by the way? Oh, before. Okay. Yeah, a lot of you said that. I think we had like 5 new people on. You know what I should do? I don't do this. I've actually never done this before, but shout out to the new people. Uh, Young Farang, you asked some iffy questions today, but you're new. So, got to start somewhere. Your questions were good. Some of them were a little iffy, but it's all right. You're new. So welcome. Who was the other person? I think we had 5 of you, actually. Is Tatiana still on? Or did she go to sleep? She said I put her to sleep yesterday. Oh, we had Rogue Dragon Rider. Um, they were new also. Just shout out to the new people on here. Who else? Who else? Scrolling through. I've never done this before, actually. Oh, John Doe was on yesterday. Let's see. Let's see. Who else? Who else? Oh, my favorite name of the day, Fibonacci. Great name. Someone named Tyler. Had like 6 of you on that are new. Oh. Oh, cool. Wow. Oh, I'm blowing up the comments. Yeah, love that thinking. Yes. Well, sounds like we think alike. Good. Before, other day, 2 weeks. What great deadpan. What is deadpan humor? Like dry humor? That's what a lot of people like about this channel. I think I'm funnier than a lot of the other finance channels because finance is kind of boring, but you got to make it fun. You got to spice it up. And of course, I have the 8 ball that helps me in investment decisions. Like if I was a hedge fund manager, this is how most of my investment decisions would be made based on the 8 ball for sure. Like, here's a good one. Okay, Hoffman will like this one. Should I sell my house and put everything in TSLY? The 8 ball says very doubtful. So there you go. There's the answer. Fun channel to watch. Well, good. Glad you like it. Engineer Blake says you may want to think about getting a like and subscribe sign to hang in your background. Oh, I've got even better than that. I'll be right back. One day I'll get this down to a science, but when I first started as a YouTuber, I got not 1, but 2. And I used to do thumbnails like this. I used to be like, the shocked face, like, whoa. But I do have these subscribe pillows. And yeah, so, but you're right. I should have something hanging in the back for sure. one time I tried to do this. I tried to do something like this. Or I think I even did something like this. It didn't really work. Hold on. I did something like, yeah, you can't see it from there. I did something like this before, but it wouldn't stay. I got to put more effort into this channel, you know? Actually, I'll tell you all, I'm getting way more views and watch hours than when I put more effort in. You know, like a year ago, I was in front of the TV. I would hook up my CPU. I would do presentations. I would have like studio lighting and whatnot. And now I just go live, and I get way more views now because I have a much bigger audience now. So anyway, thanks for the suggestion, but I do have those pillows. Young Farang, could you explain why these big YouTubers say you need millions to just get a few hundred in dividends? Because they don't know any better. These high yield dividends seem too good to be true. Is there a catch? There might be, but at the moment, no, not that I know of. Uh, I mean, when you see like at one point TSLY was at what, 75%? I mean, 75%, you know, that does seem too good to be true, but at the moment it's true. So Jay saying implied volatility, Tesla goes up, TSLY goes up. Is there a place to find a chart of implied volatility? Someone else has been asking me that a lot. When it comes to options, the closest I can find, I'll go to Yahoo Finance. This is the closest I can find, and it took me a minute to remember this. But let's see. Simplify volatility. Oh, here's Yahoo. I have Yahoo up actually. Let's see. Let's see here. All right, I'm going to share the screen. By the way, for those of you that are new on here, just want to know, like, I want to know how the algorithm is functioning. So, how are you all finding the channel? Are you all looking up TSLY funds and you're finding me? Is it you came across me looking at other channels? I'm just interested to know because I like to see that the algorithm is working for me because it's been a long time coming. I'll just say, you know, and it's just nice to see. So it's always nice to see from the new fans like how, you know, how do you discover this channel? You know, so yeah, Jay said implied. Oh yeah, implied volatility is what we're looking at here, and then hold off on the rest of the comments here because I'm going to pull up Yahoo and I'm going to share. I'm going to share the screen. I get easily distracted on here. All right, let's see. Share screen. Yahoo. Okay. I'm looking at SVO. All right, let's do this here. Options. So implied volatility comes up over here. If you can see this over here to the side. See here, there's only so many options for the SVOL, but implied volatility, you see it here to the far right. That's the only place I know of to find it. So that's where it is. So hope that helped. I'm sure it's in other places, but that's the only place I know of. All right, now let's go back here and address other comments. At Young Farang, those people are married to dividend growth stocks. They are hunting for yield on cost and steady dividend gains, not high cash flow now, but high cash flow later. I got to read that again. Those people are married to dividend growth stocks. They're hunting for yield. Oh, you're talking about the big YouTubers. They're hunting for yield on cost and steady dividend gains, not high cash flow, but high cash flow later. Okay, if you say so. Take 100,000 and do 60% a year in TSLY. That's 60,000 a year in income if it holds. Exactly, if it holds. That's the trick. Some YouTubers say you need 500,000 plus to make 30,000 a year. Not true. I feel like they don't know any better. They don't know about these funds. Then again, 3 months ago, I didn't know about these funds either. So, you know, they just got to learn. It'd be nice to have a 500,000 plus YouTube channel. Like having a channel that made 6 figures a year. I mean, you know how easy it is to make videos? It's like, just get on here and talk. That's all it is. It's almost like I call this like, back when you would like, not that I ever did much of this, but like that Skyping with your friends, like say in like high school or whatever. That's all this is basically. But it's like, get paid to do it. It's great. So, but yeah, I disagree. You don't need 500,000 to make 30,000 a year unless you're investing in individual stocks. Just not true to your own research. By the way, Join Jen, I don't forget certain things like this. You mentioned you were going to recommend me for a hair commercial. I thought I tried to style my hair a little bit better for that. I've been trying to polish my look a little bit. Can't you tell? So I definitely would like to hear more about that for sure. If you have an update. Rock and Roll 77 said, thanks. I just typed TSLY and you were one of the first to show up. Awesome. Okay. I think it's the funny thumbnail with you on a dollar. Oh, that's not just me on a dollar. That's what's called TH bucks. Let me show you. I've been trying to get that design, but oh, it's just a joke. I thought you were being serious. I'm hurt now. I'm really hurt. I'm gonna have to go cry now. To go cry into a corner. But I mean, you got to admit, this is like perfect hair for a commercial. Like this is like model hair. You know, I mean, you can't deny that. I actually, I come from the gym a lot of times before I do these live streams. So I actually tried to look a little more presentable today because if I didn't like, sometimes I'm sweaty and it looks like I just stepped out of the shower. But if I like blow dry my hair, it looks like I put my finger in an electrical outlet or something. So you all would really be laughing at that. Um, I don't always use a thumbnail. Oh, thank you. Yeah, I get a lot of comments on the eyebrows. You can't always see them because of the glasses, but yeah, that's my eyebrows. And you notice my eyebrows are black and my hair is brown. So don't know how that happened. But anyway, these are what we call TH bucks. Now, no comments about, oh, fake money and whatnot. This is real. It's a real piece of paper. See? TH bucks. And that is yours truly there. $100 in TH bucks. I want to tip with this one day. I keep it in the wallet. Actually, when I play poker, I I try to wager this as a joke. Just make everybody laugh. Laughter is good. Make people laugh as much as you can, as often as you can, right? Anyway, okay, so enough about my eyebrows there. Make sure I got this in. I still have the old school wallet I haven't upgraded. All right. Now what? Now what? Oh, look who showed up. Brevis. Brevis and Bretthead, right? I'm trying to. I need to get on this. I know I've been talking about this for a while. I tried to have my cousin do artwork. I have coasters ready. The concept art is ready. I think I've showed you all Brewing Great Returns, THB. My logo is basically a coaster. It's a perfect circle. So yeah, that is the goal. Let's see. That was a great interview, especially if he keeps coming back on. Dividend back to 80 cents. Hopefully next one is good. I actually reached out to him. I wanted to have him on the 15th, but he didn't respond. He kind of ghosted me. So yeah, but that's okay though because we have mutual connections. We'll get him back on. Not to worry on that one. There's a subscriber that knows him well that put in a really good word for me because I think I'm only the second channel to have him on. So that was really a great honor. By the way, y'all want to hear something funny? That channel, Passive Income Investing, who's got like 60,000 subscribers, one of his people reached out to me, and I said, "Hey, I think they offered to help out with the channel, but I said, hey, can you get him on? Like, I want to do a collab with him. Could you imagine how that would skyrocket the growth? A 60,000 subscriber channel, that would be awesome." But yeah, I didn't hear back from them. They ghosted me too. What's with all this ghosting? It's not even Halloween. Anyway, yeah, glad you liked the interview. Heard someone other than Rex shares coming in. Also good. That will put pressure on Jay to deliver. Hey, that's what's good. Competition breeds the best, right? As far as merch goes, you can set up an Etsy fairly easy. I need to solicit some of you all's services. I need to give everybody like a job on here. So Varden's missing, but Varden's the secretary of the channel. Some of you keep me on point. Hoffman keeps me on point a lot. I almost want to have somebody just do that for me. Um, I've still got to set up that Discord. Actually, if you all look at the channel, the main channel page, I have a Discord, but it's like a shell. I haven't done anything with it, so I've got to get on it. I really have to. The coach has to get on it. You know. I need a marketing coordinator. I think I just found one. I think her name's Joy and Jen. What do you say? You want to work for free? What do you think? Percentage, commission, Discord? I know. Look at all the jobs. I'm officially a job creator. Look at all the jobs I'm creating now. But the thing is, the pay's not going to be that great until the ad revenue is great. See, if the ad revenue was a lot, then I could employ all of you all and pay you a living wage. That's what I want to do. I want to pay everybody a living wage. You know, I don't want to have people work for pennies. I mean, I'd love to have people work for me, but I just don't want them to have to work for pennies, you know? You think you could ever YOLO TSLY if it starts delivering? Maybe. I mean, you can't get much more YOLO than selling your house. Not that I've done this or that I advise this, but you can't get more YOLO than selling your house, say 400,000, dumping it all in TSLY, and getting 22,000 a month in dividends, right? And honestly, it depends on your definition of delivering, because I would say it is delivering, just delivered an 80-cent dividend after all. How about this one? There's an expose video on passive income investing. Not really, though. It was just a video a guy did who didn't like him. Funny, though. What do you all think? Would I be, all right, would I be, if I had him on, would it somehow compromise my standing as a channel? Because I have to tell you, getting a channel on with that many followers is very tempting. Uh-oh. That guy that runs passive income rubs me the wrong way for some reason. I've seen some other YouTubers that have made fun of him and stuff like that. But the way I look at it, that's how you know you've made it. But I wonder, I haven't seen anything that stands out to me about him. I know my other competition, the UWI, I know you all have mixed reviews on him. See, I agree with Rock and Roll 77 here. Uh, hey, I'm trying. I'm trying to get him on for sure. Oh, come on, you're too busy. Oh, you're coming up with that. Just smoke some pot. You'll have more relaxation and stuff. I mean, you're close to pot country anyway. I'm kidding a little bit. Even UWI, I want to get him on, but somebody's supposed to set that up. You know, I don't know. I've kind of hammered him a little bit. I don't know if he'll come on. Make it a romper room. But the thing is, you know, everything I say, it's all in good fun. So you know, you got to have fun. That's what I like to have fun on this channel. You know, when he cannot answer a question, he gets testy with people. Who, me? Me or passive income. That's what I don't like. You know, you can't get like that. You know, um, the worst I'll do with a question, I'll give you the space helmet. That's the worst I'll do. You know. But anyway, I'm guessing that's passive income. I think I skipped over some comments here. Wow, you folks have kept me on a long time. I didn't expect to go this late. And I got to be up early tomorrow too. The weekend, got to be out of here early. All right, I think I skipped over something. Let's see. This is good to hear. So I'm ranking for TSLY. That's good. Thought it was trash, but after seeing Jay speak, thinking it has potential. Really, you thought it was trash at first? I wonder why. See, I missed your comment here because she started telling me about myself, so I got distracted. Just kidding a bit. Anyway, Brevis said, I've got 1,300 shares of TSLY. I want 2,500. Yeah, don't we all? I think I have 885. And believe it or not, yesterday was a milestone for me for two reasons. I think 750 is my biggest single day dividend. Actually, that's not true because I have, believe it or not, a mutual fund that pays me. It's called a long-term capital gain distribution, and it used to pay 1,000. Now that was like a semi-annual thing, but for a single day, that was a single day payout. So I think my biggest dividend yield for a day is like $1,000. But that only comes twice a year, as opposed to Santa Claus, who only comes once a year. So, but yeah, definitely want to get more shares of TSLY for sure. Yeah, you like the interview, get merch. Yeah, agreed. Um, where should I solicit job openings for the channel? On Fiverr? What do you all think? Pay like $5 per job? Is that a reasonable living wage? I know it's not. I'm just being sarcastic. All right. Yeah, I definitely want these other channels on. I already YOLO'd TSLY, my INLY chance KF. What does that mean? You kind of abbreviated. Quitting work in 9 months. 9 months. Why 9 months? Oh, see, you agree. Get him on. I'm gonna try to. I'll grill him for you all. How about that? I'll have some very pointed. And guess what? I'll unleash you all on him because no one asks tougher questions like you all did with Jay. You all asked Jay some really good questions. So yeah, you know what? I'm gonna run out of time here. I'm not gonna get to the engineer's article again. But guess what? We've always got the next live stream for that. I don't always intend for these to go 2 hours. I was gonna go 1 hour, but I've gone way over. Anyway, yeah, okay. Uh, then buying other yield max and clip. You all are selling me on clip too. I actually, funny enough, I thought clip was trash just based on my own analysis. And then I kept hearing what all you all were saying about clip. And then I'm like, you know what? It's starting to grow on me actually, based on you all. See, you all are a bad influence. For the most part, you're a good influence, but sometimes you all can be a bad influence, you know. Not always though. More good than bad, you know, for sure. I'm just kidding. I have the greatest audience. Then buying other yield. Oh yeah, I read that one. There is a Seeking Alpha article saying Jay is adapting his option strategies across time. Oh, good. Good to hear. See, me and Rock and Roll 77 agree. Passive guy is kind of a dick. Is he Canadian or something? He has an accent. I thought he had like a Brazilian accent or something, and he looked a little bit darker, so I thought he was Brazilian. I hope I'm not being stereotypical or anything. Anyway. Okay. Yeah. Clip Chinese stimulus. They're getting more market friendly, right? I like UWI. Oh, you do? Okay. Well, get him on. Somebody needs to get him on here. I just don't want margin or CLM. I agree. Dude, what you should get for a real good numbers is go up against the armchair investor. He's a bear and saying scam, TSLY cage fight. We could wear the space helmets. That'd be cool. Hey, if any of you know these people, get them on, because there's only so many hours in the day. I can reach out directly, but by the way, I reached out to, who is it? Darth Dividend. He's got like 11,000 subscribers or so. And all he did, he just thumbed up my comment. That was it. So, yeah, that would be cool, wouldn't it? Armchair investor on YouTube. Oh, I got to look him up because we get a lot of armchair quarterbacking on here, you know. My favorite, like I said yesterday, when people that know nothing about investing and you talk to them, I know first question is why you're talking to them, right? Well, sometimes some of them are in your family. And then you say something and it's like they won't give you credit for all the great moves you've made, but the moment you make a dumb move, here they come. Wow, Meta. I mean, you had to know Meta was going to go up. Excuse me, how many options have you traded in your life? Oh, that's right, 0. So what are you saying? Out the door, please. But you can't say that because they're family. I got to be careful. Some of my family watches this. Okay. Armchair investor. Armchair investor. Ooh, got too many. We got armchair historian, armchair detective, armchair expert. That's probably my favorite one. Armchair violence. It's a very non-niche name. Armchair investor. I see one with 15 subscribers. It's not him. So what channel is it? Because I'm not having a 15 subscriber channel on here. So you'll have to tell me what channel. What exact channel is it? There's an armchair trader. There's Victoria, spelled Russian. Yeah, check on that for me. Tone Nguyen. Are you subscribed? You're new. You're like the 7th or 8th new person on here. Hello, Canada, from an American. Yeah. Check on that. I want to find out because I see there's an armchair income. Let me click on this one. I'll subscribe to him. I like to subscribe to the other finance channels. For some reason, I feel like it helps the algorithm. Oh, he's talking about TSLY being a yield trap. This is armchair income, so I don't know if this is the same. Yeah, see, all right. Oh, yeah, same page. I like it. Same page. You could start a video series where you regularly have other dividend YouTubers. That's what I want to do. The problem is, not many of them come on. The only other YouTube channel I've had on in the history of the channel is Andre. He's the only other channel that's consistently come on. Really, the only other channel that's been on here. I'd want to get other YouTubers on here for sure. Um, so what else? What other parts of your comment? That's what I want to do. If it becomes regular, you will draw in additional viewers just by being the hub they all come interview on. I agree. I do agree. I'm new and started to invest CLM TSLY. Well, make sure you hit that subscribe button. I'm going to check. Make sure you did. Still at 1763. So what are you going to tell me now? You subscribed a week ago? Is that your line? I don't agree with his perspectives, but seems like a nice guy. Well, that's all that matters, right? As long as they're a nice guy or gal. All right, you all. Been going a while here, almost 2 hours. Anybody have anything else pressing? Anything they want to discuss real quick? Because I'm about to sign off here. So thank you all for tuning in, especially the 7 or 8 of you that just joined. Hope you all subscribed. Like, comment, and subscribe if you haven't already. And stay tuned. I'll try to get something out over the weekend. If not, I'm going to be gone for the weekend, but I'll try to at the latest Monday. I do enjoy doing these with all of you all, so I try to do it as often as possible. But thank you all again for tuning in. Take care and have a great Father's Day weekend. See you on the flip side. Take care.